everyone, welcome back to more Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Where in the last episode, we investigated the crime scenes for the third chapter of the game, and today we are headed to our third class trial, where we, again, I'm pretty sure we have the mysteries figured out. Some of the finer details of the motives and everything might be a little more cloudy, but the general gist of what happened, I think we all have that figured out. But this time, it's going to be a little different because apparently we got some new skills. We have extraordinary focus and neural liberation. Neural liberation. The focus gauge decreases more slowly during concentration and fever time. Effective during the non-stop debate, Hangman's Gambit, and the bullet time battle. Costs 5 SP. We only have 3, so we can't use that one. And the other one is increase the focus gauge by 2. Effective during the class trial, costs 2. Well, we can afford this one, so we may as well equip this. Do we have to choose... Oh, wait, can we only have 1? Can we only have 1? Oh, no, okay, well, we can have 2, okay. So... it's our max. Okay, I thought the number was how many we had left to use, not our maximum. Okay, so in that case, we can equip both, right? Oh, okay, I thought that the number, that was how many we had left, not how many we already had using. Okay, so we have Melodious Voice, Neural Liberation, and the extraordinary focus thing. Okay, I'm probably not going to use this because I haven't used the concentration thing once this whole time, but it's there if we ever want to use it. Alright, well, we're ready to go. Let's just jump straight into this.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial.
I don't think we need a basic exploration.
Who did it?
Was that?
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit.
Yeah, but except the problem with that is, you know, you found him in the suit, a suit that which can't be put on or taken off with only one person.
Don't try and deny it. You killed them.
I didn't. Someone knocked me out. I was asleep the whole time. I don't know anything about it.
Also, why would he lock himself inside a pool locker?
Check your murdering note, murderer!
Says Genocide Jill.
Who are you calling a murderer?
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprint for the suit.
Oh, in case you missed last episode, Celeste is absolutely the killer. We have a mountain of evidence against her. It's her.
Parts we assume were used to build it, and all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling.
Objection! His door was left wide open. Literally anybody could have put the evidence in his room.
It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after crime.
A suit which can't be taken off by himself. What about that do you not understand?
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't know.
Is Hiro really the killer? Or before anything else, we have to make that clear. Alright, round 1. Here we go. Make your argument. Let's do it. Robo Justice Caution Messenger's message, Robo Justice Blueprints. Okay.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No, just hold on a second.
Compelling evidence here is the killer. Is that really true? Okay, the best I got is that she says the thing about the blueprints,
The suit parts.
but we have we found the message that proves he was telling the truth.
Are we sure Hiro really made those blueprints?
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think the same person made those.
Oh, I didn't even check that. I wasn't paying attention to that at all. I was just that was the thing when she was like, obviously it points towards you. It's like, no, we found this note that proves your story true.
Person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on. I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
So Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hiro's the culprit?
And he's not the only one. I think Hiro is innocent as well.
Take note, everybody. Peculiar and I are on the same team. This will never happen again.
Then who was in that Robo Justice suit?
Oh, he was in the suit, but not by
Is
choice.
it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around?
No,
in
someone
the
forced him in there.
Suspicious individual hidden.
And by someone, I mean Celeste and Hifumi.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
And of course, he passes it off to me.
Who was was in the Robo-Justice suit?
The suspicious individual in the question, the one that must have been in the suit, was... what are these choices? Hina, the Illuminati. No, Hero.
I got it! Other than Hero, I can't think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit. And we never found any kind of second suit.
Then there can be no doubt. Hero is the prime
Nope,
suspect.
nope, don't conflate the two.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hero didn't do it.
Don't conflate the two. They're not the same thing. Being in the suit...
Makes sense. Hero
Yes.
was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
You've all gone wrong somewhere when Peculiar is your voice of reason.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
What?
Now that's a bold assumption.
And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around!
All things have a proper order.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body.
Easy. The body was covered in the blue tarp and taken upstairs, or sorry, taken across the floor in the repository dolly.
It seemed that his corpse was moved using certain particular items.
Yes.
Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
Yep. Things that were used to move Taka's body, they must have been... can I present more than one? I guess, okay, we'll start with the tarp, and then I'll present the dolly. That's just one of the two. Still one more thing. Thing was moved, it was the dolly.
I got it! They were a dolly and a tarp, right?
What's with the attitude?
So, let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room, and then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right? It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room. So the killer must have seen it there, and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly. Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right? But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body?
Yes, and we have the bloodstain on the thing, it's on the wheel to prove it.
The dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along?
No.
You simply didn't realize
No, and we have the bloodstain on the wheel to prove it.
Raised an objection? How do you respond?
There is no
I respond by pointing out the bloodstain.
Nobody expects much from you anyway. We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around you.
That's ordinarily true, but I have evidence to support my claims. Ordinarily, you're correct. Makoto not really super smart, but I'm in control of Makoto, and I'm here to tell him what to say. And I'm telling you, the blood stain will prove you wrong. I've never had anyone sound so nice while being so mean, but maybe I can change your mind. If I can just explain to them why the element must have been moved from the equipment room to the repository. New elements and added to bullet time battle. Bullet time battles already. Okay. Give it to me. Let's talk about reloading. Oh, lovely. We're going further down the first-person shooter route. Starting with this next bullet time battle, we're going to add one more ingredient to the recipe. On the bottom of the screen underneath the tempo mark, you'll see your ammo count. Up until now, hasn't really been a limit on how many you destroy your opponent's statements, but from now on, just locking on and pressing the triangle button won't be enough to handle them. Now it'll cost you 1 bullet to destroy a single remark. Once you run out of bullets, you can't destroy any more statements no matter how locked on you are. However, you can reload pressing the square button. Just like locking on, you have to press the square button in time with the tempo marker. Awesome. Basically, just remember that the square button now has a function along with the X and square buttons. You'll automatically reload at the start of fever time, and your ammo will not decrease. Oh, but if your action difficulty is gentle, yeah, whatever, okay. Oh, good luck and have fun. Oh, these sections are always pain. Okay, I thought these were reserved for the end of the trial. All right, here we go.
You have it wrong. I cannot
So I figured out the trick to this is to wait for as many statements to pop up as possible. So you can kind of get like a combo thing where you knock out as many statements in one shot as you can. Reload now. Oh, we reload one bullet at a time. Oh god. Okay, okay. Focus. Now. There we go. That's what we're doing. The key is to get as many statements with one shot as possible. I like to try to get at least 3. Reload. Get it. Reload. Go. Oh, we're done. We are done. Go. I'm out of tune. Go. We're fine. No, I pressed triangle. What do you mean? Reload. Go. We might lose. Reload. Just reload.
Cannot agree.
That was bad. Okay. That was a little too close for comfort there, pal.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here.
I can do that perfectly fine every time. It's just that the moment you take away my visual feedback when I can't see, and then you keep changing the tempo, all bets are off. I can't keep up with it once you take away my visual feedback. Oh, good lord. Well, that was interesting.
When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room, and as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Jesus, Celeste really hit me that much.
Anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo-Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then... what kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
If I look at how the body was moved, it'll be clear as why the person in the suit couldn't have done it. What does he mean by that? It means that he can't take it off by himself. I don't know how nobody's figured this out yet. Okay, we're probably gonna need the costume loaded up. Let's get that ready to go.
Was killed in the equipment room, and from there, the body was moved to the repository. Correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
All of which could not be possibly. You can't do any of this without bending over. But we already proved.
But even with that,
You already proved that you can't bend over in the suit,
all you'd have to do is bend over.
which can't be done in the suit. We already proved it yesterday.
You're absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember?
Yep, you remember. You can't bend over. I don't know how nobody put two and two together of this at this point, but okay.
But you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible. Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
There's absolutely no chance the costume is taken just with the body because you can't take it off by yourself.
I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off without...
I'm glad it took you all this long to figure it out.
You really can't take it off by yourself? Hero wasn't just making it up?
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect him.
Yeah, that's right.
So, it's really, really true that Robo-Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the robot suit, correct?
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took?
Oh, you mean the picture you staged? Yeah, I didn't forget about that.
You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo-Justice? If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that?
She's pushing this a little too hard. Like we know she's the killer. We knew that since 2 days ago. But she's pushing this really hard. Like, anybody should be able to see this and be like, okay, she's clearly out of character right now.
Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
Yes, your accomplice told you that he was the one who,
If those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question.
Yes, your accomplice said that. Congratulations.
The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hero, without a doubt.
No, wrong.
Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Come on, Hina, stick to your guns.
Hold on a second.
Don't just get flip-flopped all around.
Far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it before we rush to a verdict. Shouldn't we explore every single possibility instead of seizing on one viewpoint? The truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover something new.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up. So we went to look for everyone.
I don't think you have to break down literally everything that happened.
It was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and
You don't really need to break it down in explicit detail. We all know what happened.
Unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office,
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the 2nd floor. And soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
and then... At that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups.
Yeah, we already went through all this yesterday. We didn't need to go through this again.
Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead.
You found him pretending to be dead.
And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement. I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time, because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us.
This is a little cumbersome to have to go through all of this again.
We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again. But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies, and after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated.
So if you have no, okay, either they have no faith in their player base's intelligence, or they genuinely believe that they've created a plan so complicated that nobody could possibly understand it, and they need to break it down. So the problem with that is that if either of those things are true, maybe you've got a plan that's too complicated. Then you might need to simplify it a little bit, because the fact that we just had to sit there and listen to Sakura painfully go through every single event in explicit detail, not a fan.
It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation, and from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
The contradictions hidden in what happened to Taka. In order to uncover the truth of this case, you have to find them, no matter what. Okay, here we go. Back to the action. By which I mean first-person shooter aiming controls. Okay, broken wristwatch, Monokuma filing with Yasuhiro's message.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in.
No, you don't.
Came last.
No, that's wrong. That's do we, okay, what do we have that contradicts that? The message, broken wristwatch. That doesn't really help us prove anything because we don't have a time for the other one.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
But I might be able to. The order that the Justice Hammers were using to commit the murders. Something about that's bothering me. Okay, so can I use that absorb ability? Hold on, let me speed this up. Oh, that's not. How do you do? Okay, how do you? Hold on, I need controls again. I could have sworn there was a way for you to, like, absorb one of the statements and use that as a truth bullet. Did I remember that incorrectly? What button uses that? I thought it was the X button, but I just tried that and it just like told me to F off because it took 10 seconds off the clock.
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with just while Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came.
So,
I'm gonna try triangle, but I think that's gonna fire the wrong bullet. Maybe I'll try it. Let's give it a shot. I'm nervous. Okay, I got it. Okay. Phew. So now I can use this to counter the numbering, because the numbering of the hammers means nothing when we have the. No, don't bounce off. I really hate this mechanic. I really hate this mechanic. Like, I'm enjoying this game a lot more than I was the first time, like exponentially more. But good lord, I despise, like with a fiery passion, the fact that your success in these sections isn't determined by how well you can use logical deductions to your advantage. It's the... I hate this. I hate it. I hate it. I actually hate this. It's not, hey, are you smart enough to spot the contradictions? No, it's, hey, can you move the reticle fast enough to freaking get around the stupid purple words? If no, then I guess you're screwed. Capture, got it, okay. It's, okay, let's try to brace for it ahead of time. No, that's not, go. So what happened that time is I pressed the triangle button, I pressed the X button to try to hit the purple words, but then the purple words went away, so it instead had me hit the statement that you aren't supposed to hit, that you aren't supposed to use a silencer on, and then I got rid of the purple words, but then you don't have enough time to actually hit the freaking, the actual thing itself. Fun. This is super fun. Go. Oh my god! I hate this. It's awful. This is terrible. This is actually awful. People thought this was a good idea. That's the insane part, is that people thought this was a good idea for a gameplay mechanic. Okay, just get it and then go. Let's brace for it. No, because you don't have the time to do it. Oh my god, it's awful. It's awful. It's actually awful. It's not. The game isn't like, hey, are you smart enough to spot the contradictions? No, it's, can you shoot around the purple things with this abysmal... This is maximum aiming speed, by the way. This is the maximum aiming speed. There we go. Oh my god. I hate this mechanic so much. I actually hate this stupid mechanic.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Evan's proof Taka was killed before Hifumi. I feel like there was something. Well, I mean, he had his wristwatch on. So I guess... Wait a minute. Okay, yep, it's wristwatch. We need I. We need an S. This is gonna spell out wristwatch. Come here, S. We need another T. Because I did a quick count of the number of letters. And then after, no, not K. We need T. Where's T? T. T. We need the W. I did a count of how many letters were in the word, and then I saw which ones were actually already there, and then obviously it became clear at that point that it was wristwatch. I need another C. Give me a C. C. Go. Okay, and then finally H. There we go. Wristwatch.
Understand? I got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night... So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us.
No, it didn't.
We made the wrong assumption about
It may have slipped past you, but I knew pretty much immediately.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers.
The game just wouldn't let me prove it because of the stupid first-person shooter aiming controls.
That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window.
Also, once again, Kyoko's the one solving everything.
Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe. When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except... Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body, because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
Easy. He woke up and walked himself. He woke up, cleaned off his glasses with his own cleaning cloth, tossed that in the because he covered his glasses in blood. And then he threw his cloth away, walked himself upstairs, and then he's the one who moved Taka's body.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing.
I could.
According to what Celeste said, his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it.
In the 1 minute that Celeste got Hina out of the room, Hifumi took advantage of the opportunity to leave, I think is what you meant to say.
That much weight from the first floor up to the third? In that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
Thanks, Kyoko.
How? If the dead body were to move itself.
Wow, you know, I've got to be honest, I really thought we were done with the hand-holding. I really thought that after the second case, we'd be clear shot to the end of the game, no more hand-holding, we're in the clear. But, nope, we still got to deal with it.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... No!
It's like they're actively trying to prevent you from figuring things out for
I
yourself.
don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive, is it really possible? Yes. Yes, it is. Alright, here we go. Broken wristwatch, equipment room, bloodstained, Celeste's account. Alright, well, I guess we'll have to see.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi
It's not
is dead,
impossible.
without a doubt.
And your proof of that
You
is?
know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us.
Yeah, around the
Hifumi's
same
dead
time.
body had been found.
Yeah, Taka's body had been found.
The announcement was made.
Okay, I don't have anything to counter that, do I?
Really so sure about that?
Okay, what can I absorb?
Announcement was intended
Oh,
to
this. I can absorb this. Go, get it. Got it. Okay. Is that gonna save? Does that save for when we try this again? Okay, good. Okay, we have it. Okay. So let's speed this up to the very end. Yes, a body was found, but it wasn't his body because they were found at the same time. Please don't get stopped by this stupid thing. There we go. Whew. We weren't stopped by the purple words for a change.
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say, it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time. Even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
The second body discovery announcement, the first time we played was when we found each found each body in ourselves in the equipment room. And the second time was when both bodies were rediscovered.
My God! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies. It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
And in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Yes, there is.
Okay, then.
Yes, there
Let's
is.
take another look at the
Because
events
he was
surrounding
he
the
cleaned off his glasses with his own
Then it
cloth.
should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
Says Celeste. Have none of you noticed that Celeste is way more aggressive this time than she has been previously? Nobody? Okay. I guess it's just me. Alright, Hifumi's glasses, yeah, okay, it's gonna be his glasses. They're gonna say something like, oh, we don't have any proof.
There's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved...
Go ahead, say it, say it. I'm ready, say it.
Other than the change in how it was positioned...
Oh, crap. Okay. You mean this worst timing to stop wasting my time? Okay, so I was honestly... I was expecting you to say something along the lines of... There was no proof that he could have got up and walked away. Okay.
There's one thing we
Oh, I have to start from the beginning. Okay, I jumped the gun on that one. That one's on me. That one's on me. I was expecting her to say that there was no more evidence. That would be the next thing she said, but obviously it wasn't. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. That's what I thought she was gonna say something like that, like that. But clearly I was incorrect. I jumped the gun. My bad. That one's on me.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
It was found. That was the cleaning cloth that we found.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean, and the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera. And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles. From Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses.
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
And it must have been him.
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
Nope, they were the packs that were in the refrigerator. He used that to paint the scene.
The nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out. So he just dumped it everywhere. But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. God, what an idiot.
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
The one who moved Taka's body was Hifumi.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead. And when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact.
The note he had, I'm guessing.
Has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto?
Yeah, the note. Okay. Could it be? Yes, it could be the notes that he had on him.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. Monica, we can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go.
Well, it's a similar version to it.
Wait, this one's a little different. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
Yeah, we know, it's the one Taka got.
Not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro.
It was Taka.
And that person could only have been...
Hifumi's pants.
I got it!
That's an option, okay.
That's right! Taka, the killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right?
If you don't understand what's going on, then why are you saying anything?
Whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok. They were drawing out Huffy.
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Oh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let her get to me. Yeah, okay, it's obvious. He had the note. Okay, oh my god, okay. As the accomplice, it would make sense for him to have, okay, glass cleaning cloth, broken versace, blue tar, Hifumi's glasses, spotless hammer. Okay, it went away. Let's just get the wristwatch ready to go, because that has to do with Taka. We have to have something ready that's going to counter, person intended for. Must have been Huffy. No, it wasn't. Give me the thing. There we go.
Remember what the note said.
Why are they spinning?
What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter.
What?
The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
Obviously, I hate this mechanic so goddamn much. It's the worst thing in the world. And now they're spinning. Thank you for nothing, you useless reptile. Oh my god. Oh. I hate it. I hate it. Thanks. I hate it. I actually hate this mechanic. It's the worst thing in the world. Yep. When you try to get ahead of it, it's too fast, and when you try to go behind it, it suddenly slows down. You'll notice my logic has not been my logic has not been touched yet. My logic is still as tight as it was at the beginning of the episode. It's just that the freaking spinning purple words of death are actively trying to. Oh my god. Okay. Okay.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same.
And if you need proof that it has to do with Taka, then I would refer you to the scrap of paper he was clutching in his hands.
He's already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place, written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that. No further objections.
Great, what a waste of time.
Someone used that note to trick Taka, just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster, telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it? Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Proof that Hifumi stole it from Taka, that would be the piece of paper he had, he was holding on to.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from its death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly, which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Okay, you're going a little bit over there, buddy.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository...
Yeah, we got the announcement.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Ooh, me, pick me, I know.
It is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository, so he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together. Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus! What are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same. with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
I'd go with the hammer that didn't have any markings on it whatsoever. Because we know that the attack on Celeste was faked, so which makes me think that they were all put there to try to throw us off the scent. So I have a feeling that the real weapon is going to be the smallest hammer, because if they all had some kind of dust on it, except for this one, which means they would have had to literally go out of the way to clean it off. So
How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing...
do you think that's an actual website you can go to? Do you think a fan of Danganronpa actually made that? Okay, there we go. There's the thing. Do you think some fan of Danganronpa would have actually made that a real website, or maybe the developers? I don't know.
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris, but for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
Whoever did that was the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder.
Yeah, but Hifumi wouldn't care about that, because all Hifumi would care about is getting that stupid laptop back. That's probably all that occupied his mind.
That anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We didn't talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first. But I'm pretty sure I know why Hifumi would have cared enough to get involved. Okay, wristwatch, blue tarp, spotless hammer.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
Well, it's obviously not impossible.
The rule was explained to us.
It's obviously not impossible.
If there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were 2 murders.
Exactly. Give me that. Give me. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It didn't absorb it fast enough. Okay, I want to use that because, like, obviously the fact that there were 2 murders would make this a different matter. So give me that. Gimme. Thank you. Okay. Now we wait for it to loop around again, and then we can use this to counter the fact that she said it was impossible. Is it the one after this? I think so. Yep. Okay. Do this right there. Boom.
No, it's wrong. Since there were 2 murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward.
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in the scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that 2 people could act as each other's accomplices to commit 2 separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating 2 separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look.
Which is exactly what I said yesterday.
Single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
No, the choice of accomplice makes perfect sense because that's the one person who would have been rage-fueled enough to actually partake in this. The effort made to convince us the 2 murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed this fact from the very beginning, which is why she set out to look that this is a series of connected events but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
How an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's string?
That's problem numero uno right now.
True Killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions and in the end murdered him. In the base until now, the way the case is unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. And that person is going to be Celeste. Nope, that's not where we stop. Where is she? There she is. Did I just go the complete wrong way? Yeah, I could have gotten there a lot shorter by going in this direction. Celeste!
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I?
Alright, this is going to be where things get good. Because everything we've talked about so far I already figured out yesterday. But this is where things are going to get good, I think. Because Celeste is the ultimate gambling student. Which means she's got a very strong poker face. Which means she's used to lying a lot. Which means that in theory, trying to knock her down should be quite the challenge.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi.
Yes.
The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit from brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the 2 of you.
So, I was under the impression that being an ultimate gambling star would make you have a bit of a tougher poker face than that. But you're already starting to break?
Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the 2 of you were working together.
Was it only for me and Celeste had in common? Encountering the suspicious individual. It only ever happened when she was around.
The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Yeah.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said? We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said? Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
It was to get us to divide into 2 groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up. Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor. Everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that we kind of already figured out all this stuff, so it's just like watching, it's just like waiting for everyone to catch up.
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it. Looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead.
That's a bit of a stretch. You don't need that. There's already enough evidence to convict her even outside of that. Like, she could have literally just been referring to the fact that Hiro also died. Chihiro also died last case on top of Hifumi. That's a bit of a stretch.
Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Mercury said the Celeste comment doesn't make much sense, but what is he alluding to? He's alluding to the fact that he would have already known ahead of time because those guys implies that she knew that Taka was dead, even though she couldn't have possibly known that. But that's a bit of a weak thing to base your claim on.
They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious.
It is. I don't have anything to blow it open. Oh, okay. Absorb this, and then we can go back. Okay, got it. Got it. I got it now. Okay. Yeah, it's not exactly rocket science. I don't know that we needed to do this. Okay, I'm gonna die. Those guys, go now, go now, go now. Got it.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys?
Like, that's the thing. You didn't need this piece to convict her. You already have enough outside of it. And she could literally just been referring to Chihiro died and also Hifumi died.
Yoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It wouldn't be hard to stage it.
It has to be some kind of setup, right?
Yeah.
So let's put the suit on. And
No, just no.
use the camera's timer
No,
to...
buddy. You remember being called to the rec room, right? They knocked you out, shoved you in the suit, and then they staged the photo to make it look like he was being attacked.
You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit.
Which doesn't counter anything.
Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer.
Doesn't matter.
In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away.
No.
Everything I told you was a lie. How can this picture exist?
Simple.
That doesn't
Are we
counter
sure
anything.
That's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered
It,
us.
like, do you really need me to explain that it's possible to fake this
No,
shot, right?
There is no other explanation.
There is an infinite number of explanations. If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only possibility is... The only one that makes sense out of these three is that he's dragging the suspect away. But this doesn't necessarily have to be true for this photo to have been staged. This is just one thing that they could have done to stage the photo.
The suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Celeste thinks she can prove there's no way Hifumi's dragging the suspect away. Is that really possible? Good luck. Yeah, Celeste is acting way out of character for how she normally does. Okay, costume, handbook, hammer, mess. It's gotta have something to do with the costume, probably. Because that's what we're talking about, right?
Suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up.
What a stupid thing to say. If they're unconscious, then they can't move. And if the costume can't bend at the waist, then obviously it's not gonna...
Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that, because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Okay, going off the rails here.
You want to cram me into your little problem? Have you already forgotten what Hifumi
This
told
is
us as
not
he lay
what I
down?
was expecting from someone who is apparently an ultimate gambler. Hey, Fumi, who was it who attacked you? Who tried to kill you?
Who killed me? That's right, I remember their name. Yasu.
Hero.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
And it's entirely possible. So first off, his goal could have still been to frame him. Second off, he didn't necessarily have to have seen who attacked him, because him being in the room doesn't mean he had to come face to face with Celeste. Also, since it just happened, he may not have clear memory of it, since, you know, he was bashed in the skull, which is where his brain is, so he might have memory loss.
He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
That's okay, that's not the defense you go for, because he wouldn't have known that.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense.
Yeah, there's no, why are we getting into
He
this?
did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention to why was I wasn't, okay, hold on, can we pause? Is there a pause? Okay, we can't pause. Okay, oh, you've gotta be, oh my god. Okay, it's he said people's last names because Celeste is the only one who doesn't have a last, okay, that's, wow,
That's right, our last names. He called us all by our last names.
Where do I even begin? Okay, so, yikes. First of all, why would he, okay, now I have even more questions. So my initial thing would be to say, okay, so he may not remember who attacked him because he was he was bashed in the brain with a hammer, brain damage, memory loss, you know, logical thing to assume. Also, he may have still wanted to try to frame Hiro even after this happened. Also, you know, he may not have seen his attacker and may have just logically assumed that Hiro had woken up and somehow figured out he was trying to frame him. There's a million explanations for that. Instead, they went with, oh, Celeste didn't tell us her last name for some reason, so he was simply referring to her by her last name, which is not only an insane coincidence that Hiro happens to share the first name with Celeste's last name, but also, how would he have known this information when our handbooks don't even tell us her last name? It literally just, like, this is, the only reason I figured this out is because, actually, that's the third. So the second thing is, how would he have known that? Third thing, how are we supposed to know that when even we don't know that Celeste's we don't, what? But, oh, okay, never mind, throw that whole thing out the window. Her name is, what? Her last name isn't even, okay, we need to let this play. I'm so confused.
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
That is such a stretch. Okay, really?
I'm sure it was just
Really?
incidental. By chance, his first name.
That is your linchpin.
Decent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation?
No. More like you're basing your entire, this is what you're gonna hinge your case on.
No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal, but he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on.
No.
And that's Celeste.
No, wrong. That's a lie. I assumed that's what they were going for. I assumed they were going to be like, okay, well, because we weren't told her last name, then obviously it must have been her. Which, first off, doesn't even make, I won't even buy that at a surface level, because basing the entire thing on, oh, he's always said last names. look, I'm sure the game was precise enough to the point if I went back to the script, he wouldn't have ever said anyone's first name. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that that's probably true, just for the sake of argumentation. Even if that is true, that means nothing. Again, just even if we discard the fact that he would have had brain damage and likely would not have been functioning 100% capacity, it's still, like, such a simple slip of this. Like, it's not a thing where, in the last case, where Mondo's said, hey, look, the blue thing, and then that's like, wait a minute, how do you know what color it is if you were never there? And yes, that's a small detail, but it's pivotal to the case. This is a small detail that anybody could have, he could have said he could have said his first name, or he could have said his last name. This means nothing. But even if we get past all of that, that doesn't even hold up, because we have her full name right here. We have it right there. It's right there. And it's not Yasuhiro. What?
What did you just say? To think you take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit. Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather. Yasuhiro is a loser's name. Do I look like a loser?
Just point to the handbook. The handbook proves that...
Do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
I have so many questions.
Then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Luden.
Yes, that's what the handbook says.
Please stop making me repeat myself over and over again!
So still don't give up, so then I have to summon to make her accept it. Oh, good lord. That's what her thing, like, that's we have a full catalog of all their names.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last
But the handbook already had that. Even before this trial started.
You, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
No, it's wrong.
Okay, I have so many questions.
That's it. The handbook.
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right?
Yes, but that name should be the one that's on file right here, because it already said Celestia Ludenberg before this case started. It was said this from the beginning. It said this before she told us what her name was.
Right? Monokuma told us all about it before. So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened, please?
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Ultimate gambler here, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes, and that'll bring everything to an end.
Oh my god, okay. I have so many questions about this. Okay, I'll save my thoughts for the end, but good lord, this... Okay, well, as always, I'm gonna speed this up because it's not really gonna... It doesn't take much brain power to reconstruct... What? Why is this here? This is from the first case, and these two are from the second case. Why are they... Okay, whatever. Yeah, so I'm not gonna bother... Okay, obviously this goes here because they're shaking hands. I'm not gonna bother showing you this because it doesn't take much brain power to reconstruct what happened, so I'll see you guys... this would probably be the clock that we saw, right? Because this would be... Yeah, this said 1 AM, so this is when that happened. I'll see you guys after I finish constructing this. I'll give my final thoughts on this case after we put this all together.
The killer is you! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. Celeste, sorry, you lose.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no, Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
I call bullshit. I call straight bullshit.
Finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
I call straight bullshit on this. B? B? What do you mean B? What do you mean I got a B? Okay, I still got an A overall. What was the... Can I review it? Hold on. Wait. Where'd I get a B? Was this when we did the bullet time bullshit? Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I deserve a B for bullet time battle. But what was this? Why'd I get a B here? Missteps... What even... Was this Hangman's Gambit, maybe? What was... I don't know what the phases were. Or... It was either... I know this was bullet time battle, because I had 2 hearts left. This was either the bullet time battle, or it was one of the many instances in which I was trying to shoot the word, and it was like, nah, you don't get to do that. Okay, well, I still got an A overall, so it's whatever. We're going for a perfect report card here. However, that case, you know what? We're gonna let this final scene play out, then I'll talk about the case. Hey, we got 106 medals, so maybe we can buy another present for Kyoko and Hina.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no, I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct! The blackened this time, the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taiko Yasuhiro! Bullshit!
Honestly.
I lost. Well, that sucks. I guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Hifumi with this plan? But how did you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure she relied on her specialty, lying. My specialty? Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to her to get him to agree. Then did you use, you know... I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right to get Hifumi out as my accomplice. I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name. But it was the one thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into.
As I predicted, does she mean... Is she talking about alter... Yeah, what else could she have been talking about?
Say what?
What? Whoa, what? What are you talking about?
Just a second.
Don't interrupt, we're in the middle of a very important conversation here.
I'm totally out of the loop as usual. How sad.
In other words,
Then you're the one that stole it? Yeah, as we predicted as well. And you used it to drag it from me into the plan you come up with. Yep, that's what I thought. Exactly as I said.
Oh, what are you doing here?
Actually,
I was hoping I could talk to you. Alone. It is about what was stolen. I know who did it.
What?
What?
are you okay with this?
It was Taka. He stole it.
So
And I have
then,
proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I found a use for the digital camera. I'd taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the pictures as I showed it to Hifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him. But how did he do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got close to her. You are correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say
What?
as for me,
Please forgive me. He threatened me.
Oh.
He did.
As for me-
He came to my room last night unannounced, and then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me. What? And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice. That's a crime, an absolute crime. I knew he got a little crazy, but I never imagined he would go that far. It was amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. I'm about to say something I never said before in my life. I'm gonna kill him.
most unfortunate.
Wait, please. If you go now, you'll be playing right into his hands. Huh?
Actually,
Taka's planning to use her to escape. And he has made you his target. Escape? You don't mean... Taka is going to try to kill you. What?
indeed.
And also he can keep her to himself.
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I?
I swear!
I have to save her! Then would you like to join with me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. Huh? I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful school. And with that, it is complete. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. Hifumi agreed without a second thought. The effect that item had on him was remarkable. The power of love. Even a love as twisted as that can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me.
See.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
indeed.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt too.
Possibly literally.
All I asked him to do was make something to hide the face in general body size. I had no idea he made something like that. That's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But
So why'd you decide to make me the suspect?
Because you're stupid.
That's it?
Let's see.
And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, though.
I feel like I could cry. But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you had actually let him live?
Are you okay?
That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once someone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded, he was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. And he really believed that? Well, of course. That wasn't all there was to it. As I explained it to Hifumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it.
It all seems very straightforward. Stereotypical.
I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
So in the end,
So you had planned to kill him all along.
But of course. There would have been no point to my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well,
That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Now you sound like Peculiar.
I wonder
No,
about
he
that.
derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
Then what made you take things this far? Was it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? That is a lot of money, it's true. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment our new life here began, my only thought has been escape.
But all along you've been saying how we have to accept living here.
Obviously that was a lie. I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anyone else in here.
You little
I wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. And do you want to know why?
fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly.
And there was no way that I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me,
And it was all for that dream.
And what was this dream of yours?
wonderful.
To live in a European...
What? A castle?
And to gather handsome men from all over the world to serve as my butler/bodyguards. What? I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. What is this? Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence. Living the rest of my life there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Okay. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but unfortunately my dream has been scattered to the wind. I still don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream to the very end, so why would I? You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it? Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing. That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding. That's what we should be saying, and plus, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in that. It's not just other people. I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious.
And that's why you're not scared?
That's right. I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice, then I think I'd like to come back as Marie Antoinette.
You just get executed again. Celeste smiled then, and when she did look to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie, and that weak, fake smile is what betrayed her.
You all done? Okay then, let's get rolling. The blackened deserve the piece and must pay the price. Now then.
Prepared a very special punishment.
For her, the ultimate gambler.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time.
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. What? Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
Again, sorry if you want to watch this, but YouTube copyright doesn't really like me to play this. It's over. The third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Celeste killed my friend, so I can't pity her. But I also can't deny that at one point I considered her. Did you, though? And for him to just come along and...
Isn't it just awful? Someone couldn't cut free of their regrets from the outside world, and so more people had to die. You guys are still young. You need to place more value on your lives.
What are you gonna
Jeez. And here I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation.
What do I care about hope? I'll throw it in the trash and just let me out of here.
You're all the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. And it's my destiny to knock you down one by one. It's sad. Yes, it is. But that reality just can't be avoided. Don't
talk like you're not responsible. How long are you gonna make us keep going through this? What do you want from us?
God, I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. So anyway, Kyoko, did I see you get some kind of key-type object from Celeste? So, what's the deal with that?
What's the deal with that?
Huh? What's the matter?
Then.
I'll answer your question if you answer mine. What did you do? What did you do to me? What?
Hey,
Answer me. What did you do to my... that's a question.
Oh man, oh jeez, oh man, oh jeez, what do you mean, what did I do? I have no idea. I didn't know anything about it.
What was that just now? The mastermind did something to Kyoko's body. What does that mean?
Okay, things are getting kind of awkward. I think it's about time I get out of here. Meanwhile, you guys keep going, enjoying your school life. If you get lonely, give me a shout. Not that I'll do anything about it, of course. See ya!
Monokuma disappeared, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Although it wasn't all despair, there was one small hope. Hey, Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but what's that key that Celeste gave you? Most likely, it's the key to one of the dressing room lockers. What? Then that means... Celeste probably hid it in there. I suppose sometimes it's easy to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well then, we better go check. Good idea. We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room. So, does this count as the end of the chapter, or not? I'm gonna say that we've been going on for a while. I'm gonna end the episode here because we've reached the ending of the trial. Okay, that case was bullshit. So, let's start from the beginning. The introductory daily life section was pretty good. It's a little weird that Hifumi and Taka were so obsessed with an AI. That's very strange. But other than that, daily life, pretty fun. Deadly life, pretty cool investigation. Then we get to the class trial, and just on a basic level, you wouldn't think that it would be, but the class trials are my least favorite parts of this game. Because on a gameplay level, first of all, I despise everything about the having to aim around the purple sentences to actually to point out contradictions. I despise that about this game. Like, actually despise it with a fiery passion. But even if we just completely ignore that part of the gameplay, the amount of hand-holding involved in this game is ridiculous. Like, I pretty much solved most of this case from the last episode, and even I would, like, but even if I hadn't solved it, I would still be annoyed at the amount of hand-holding that the game was like, oh, figure this out. Hey, look, what if the killer got up, or what if Hifumi got up and took himself out of the room? It's just really frustrating with how little faith they have in your intelligence, especially when they just stop the trial dead in its tracks, have Sakura explain it all in explicit detail. That was really annoying. But let's put all that aside, because then we get to the actual content of the case. So the method in which this murder was carried out, like, I was satisfied when I solved it, but then I started to think about it, and I'm like, wait, why did you go to such lengths to, like, you could have done this in so many easier ways. Also, why would you have ever asked Hifumi to be your accomplice? Because of the two of them, clearly you would have had much better chance of succeeding if you had gotten to if you got Taka on your side, because they had the same motive, the same level of emotion-driven, rage-filled motive. You just picked the one that's an idiot instead of the one that actually has brains. He may be an asshole, but he still had a brain for the most part, so you had a better chance. Even if we say they're both not that bright, which I would be inclined to agree. Of the two, Taka is way smarter than Hifumi, so she should have picked him instead of Hifumi. But even if we ignore the fact that and then this leads into another thing, because yes, that's just one small thing, like, or who she chose as her accomplice, but it's a small piece of a bigger whole, because she was supposed to be the ultimate gambler, which made me think that she would be super smart, really challenging to take down, really challenging to corner, to get her to break. But no, she was constantly making dumb mistakes. She constantly, first she hired, or she got Hifumi to work with her instead of Taka. She acted super suspicious the entire time, was way too aggressive during the class trial. She was, during the investigation, the only person who ever saw the shadow figure was her. She designed a scenario where the only person who was ever involved in anything was her. She painted all the suspicions onto herself. She unlocked the door. She found the bodies. She was the one on guard when the bodies went missing. This all boiled down to her. Like, she made all these mistakes, and then during the trial itself, like I said, she was way too aggressive. And once we applied even the slightest bit of pressure onto her, she broke instantly. And she immediately was like, "You stupid idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?" Like, what? I would have expected that the ultimate gambler would have had a rock-solid poker face, would be impossible to break, and certainly would not crack under, like, the most minuscule amount of pressure imaginable. That is just baffling to think about. And even if we ignore all of that stuff, if we ignore her abysmal decision making and behavior, and we just focus strictly on why she did all this. No, actually, you know what? We're gonna come back to that. Let's talk about that final piece of logic. Let's forget her for a second. Let's come back to our side where we're trying to solve this. The linchpin of this case, the final nail in the coffin, was that Hifumi said has apparently always been referring to people by their last names, which is on par with the same level of minuscule bullshit that Kyoko pointed out in the last case with the whole Mondo always referred to people as dudes and chicks, and he referred to Chihiro as a dude, not a chick, which is like, why do you notice these things? And how is the player supposed to notice these things? So let's put that aside, because the logic is, so he only says people's last names, therefore he couldn't have been talking about Hiro, which is just such a, wow, that's what we base that whole deduction on. So then, carrying that train of logic even further, what we arrive at is the thing where it's like, oh, Oh my god, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Okay, so first off, the coincidence that there's a person here with the first name Yasuhiro and a person here with the last name Yasuhiro, even if we accept it as fact, the level of coincidence involved in that, don't even get me started. Furthermore, the whole thing is, oh, she never told us her name, but that's bullshit because, like, this isn't stuff that we didn't learn this information from what they told us because she didn't tell us that her name was Celestia Ludenberg until today. So, and her name was already in the handbook. This is the handbook. It tells us this right here. It tells us this. But then, apparently the game pulls the Uno reverse card, and it's like, oh, actually, the handbook is lying to us. Which is, okay, fine, the handbook lied to us, and her name isn't that, but then why was the key piece of evidence there that we used to win the case the handbook? Oh. Oh, wow. I am... And then we have her motive. Because... It makes sense the ultimate gambler would want more money. But, so, okay. The other killers, like, part of the whole thing was at the end, they reveal something about themselves that you don't feel bad for them because they're murderers, obviously. You don't go, oh, what a poor thing. There, it's okay that you killed someone. Like, no, that's not the intended reaction. But there were layers to their character, right? It wasn't just, oh, killer, oh, there we go, we were done. There were layers to it, right? They each had some motive or some backstory that gave them depth as characters. With her, it's just like, oh, lol, I'm greedy, lol. I want to go live in a European castle and live out my days with a bunch of handsome men around me to bend to my every command. Like, I'm sorry, are we supposed to feel bad for you? Because I don't. So, you had a terrible plan. You kept making mistakes. You were too aggressive. Your motive made no... your plan made no sense. Your execution was atrocious. And your motive wasn't any better because it, like, the idea of you getting more money, yes, that is in tune with you as a character according to your special ability, but it's like, why are we supposed to feel bad for you if you're just This chapter was so good. From, like, daily life, awesome. A little weird with the whole laptop thing. Deadly life, awesome. Really good investigation. But everything about the breakdown of the case and the logic and the motivations and just everything. Oh. I'm disappointed. This could have been so good. But it just wasn't. Alright, well. Because, like, the first two cases, like, I know I said this stuff for the first two cases, but, like, I think I even said at the end of the cases, like, that was fine. I just wasn't super enthusiastic about it. Like, when I played through them again this time, I'm like, hey, I'm actually enjoying this a lot more. I still hate the handholdiness. I hate the gameplay mechanics. I hate the handholdiness. But the actual logic of the case and the motivations, those all hold up really well. This case, no. None of that holds up. None of this is... Let's just hope that the remaining cases or chapters or whatever are better than this. Because, this... not good. Alright, well, that'll be it for now, so thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time to catch you all tomorrow for some more Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Goodbye.
Danganronpa.